And back with another video. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another villain roast because I'm not done with this. This is what I've decided that I need to do with my life, is we just need to sit down and have a conversation about villains. So welcome back to my channel where we simp for villains unapologetically, unabashedly, unashamedly. Anyways, okay, are we ready to begin? I'm joined here today by Edward, Charles, and Jeffrey, who are going to help us roast the shit out of our next villain. Today, we're roasting ghetsis harmonia, ghetsis H harmonia gropius, that mouthful of a name. I have such a burning, intense hatred for this man. I need to preface this by saying that I have not finished playing Black and White. I haven't even played Black 2 and White 2, but I have spent an innumerous amount of time on Bulbapedia, and I think I'm qualified to talk about this, okay? Ghetsis harmonia gropius. I've got like a whole list, a grievous list of Ghetsis harmonia's crimes. He made me write a five-page essay. That's where we are in this, okay? Let's begin. Ahem. Ghetsis harmonia is tacky in every single way. What is with this man's cape? The intention is, I think, to make it look like a priest's cape, but he just looks like a potato. He looks like he's wearing a Snuggie. This man looks like if vegan cheese was a person. I really feel like he's crumbly and gross in exactly the same way that vegan cheese is. I think if I took a bite out of Ghetsis harmonia, he would not taste very good. I wouldn't recommend doing that, and I don't know why I just said that. Ghetsis harmonia gropius. What kind of name? What name? I know that they also had this like weird thing where they made it a tritone, because that's what his name means. It's G and then C sharp, so ghetsis, and that's his name in Japanese. And then gropius. Gropius? I don't think I even need to get into why that's a problem to me for several reasons. Ooh, boy. I watched this video and it was really informative and it was really cool. It was talking about Ghetsis and how he has all these connections to demons and everything, and it's really cool, but I just don't get it and I hate it. I hate it so much. They're trying to connect him to this like philosophical, like Freemasonry has something to do with architecture. Cool, I hate it. I hate architects. This is an architect hate channel. Not really, if you're out there and I've just offended your profession, I'm very sorry. Thank you for making buildings. Let's hop over to Bulbapedia, good old Bulbapedia, where I spend 90% of my time. Let's learn some cool Ghetsis facts, okay? Ghetsis ghetsis, it says it right there, ghetsis harmonia gropius, okay, is one of the seven sages. Seven sages. What does that even mean? We'll get into all that in a second. Is the true mastermind behind Team Plasma and the primary antagonist between Black, White, Black 2, and White 2. So this guy has not only failed once, but twice. And oh, if we go down here, okay, so if we go down and we're learning about this absolute clown, okay, so he's got all his Pokemon controlled, we've got the stuff about his names, and then we go to trivia, okay? He is the only villainous leader in the anime to be arrested successfully at the conclusion of his plot. And that's so funny. I know that there's a whole story arc where you go around and you arrest all the seven sages, and that is so funny to me because this man is so stompy and angry. He looks like he never got out of his Shadow the Hedgehog phase, and that's coming from someone who had a middle school Shadow the Hedgehog phase. We're gonna review Shadow the Hedgehog someday, and I'm gonna get all into it. It's gonna be really bad, but Ghetsis, he's like, he never got over being friend-zoned when he was 19, and he just decided that he's gonna destroy the world and hate all women because of it. Like, that's the vibe this man gives me. He has absolutely no likable or redeemable qualities, and if that was what they were going for, they sure hit the nail on the head right here with this man, because damn. Well, and then, okay, and so then we're gonna hop over to Villains Wiki, okay? Another place where I spend a lot of my time. Ghetsis harmonia gropius, alias Ghetsis, Lord Ghetsis, Dennis, by fan. Because his theme music isn't even good, it's just this strange drumming. Out of any of the music in the rest of the game, which, you know, arguably slaps, you get to Ghetsis and you just have this weird drumming. They have all these weird Catholic motifs. Which Gregorian monks do you know that just go around banging drums and chanting? And it's like they just took all of these weird conspiracy theory tropes and then shoved them together all in one person. So, powers and skills. Intellect. That I'm gonna disagree with that one. I don't think this man's very smart. I think he's smart until he gets angry, and then like all hope is lost, and that's what's great about it is because he's angry like 90% of the time. Brainwashing, manipulation, skill in Pokemon battles, leadership, strategic mind, hobbies, deceiving his son, and Anthea and Concordia aren't even in this whole fiasco, because he adopted them too, and everybody just likes to conveniently forget about them. And what's worse about them is that they're called goddesses. Goddesses? That's never explained either. They have 2 lines. They're just regular women who raised in, and you don't know anything about them, and that actually makes me the most angry out of anything. Kings, sages, goddesses, it's like they wanted to put lore there. They're the only ones who get to know. Team Plasma's the only ones that get to know what the lore is. Taking over the world, destroying Unova, both failed, crimes, brainwashing, terrorism, attempted murder, child abuse, mongering, attempted world hegemony, animal cruelty, torture, and propaganda. Type of villain, manipulative god wannabe. And wannabe really is the key word there. Ghetsis Harmonia is like they were trying to make an intimidating villain. They all sat in their little Game Freak boardroom and they were like, all right guys, we're gonna make a scary Pokemon villain. It just doesn't fit the genre. No Pokemon villain is ever gonna be scary, and the rest of them all are just regular guys. But Ghetsis Harmonia. One of my favorite posts on Tumblr is this post that goes around sometimes, and it's like talking about all the Rainbow Rocket leaders and what they look like in the pictures of them lined up next to each other. And it's just like 5 regular guys in suits, and then Ghetsis running around like a wizard. And that's really the summary of what it is. This man is a parody of himself. He's trying so hard to be intimidating that he's not even intimidating at all. He's so self-conscious about his perceived villainy. You know who's comfortable in their villainy? You know who has a good, respectable, comfortable villainy? Bowser. Bowser is a great villain. This is a good, well-rounded villain who knows what he's about. He's comfortable, he is grounded in himself. We have tons of video evidence of Bowser being a great father. Ghetsis Harmonia. Ghetsis Harmonia is just picking up random children off the street and calling them kings and princes and goddesses, and nobody is explaining any of this to me, and it makes me so angry. This is why I didn't finish the games. Oh, Black 2 and White 2, Black and White are like the most amazing games because they have a great storyline. The problem that I have is that it seems like there was all this lore that they wanted to have because they set up castles and kings and gods and goddesses, but Unova is like based on the United States. Like why? Like why is the Catholic kingship cult the one that's running the United States? I don't get it at all. I don't like the lore that's here because I think there's a complete lack of lore. I think it's pretty big to drop gods and goddesses into the Pokemon world. Not only that, but give them 2 lines that are just about in. Anthea and Concordia were robbed of any sort of semblance, of any sort of good inclusion to any sort of plot. And it's just because Ghetsis is crazy. I don't know what he wanted. I don't think he knew what he wanted. He said it a million times and I don't understand what he was doing. He just wanted to take over the world in a generically evil way. But unlike our last guy that we just reviewed who was generically evil, Ghetsis Harmonia has like no likable qualities. He's not even pretty. Canon, he's 6'6". That's another way they wanted to connect him to the devil. Oh, if we make him 6 foot and 6 inches, that's like really close to being the 666 of the devil's number. It's almost like there's so much symbolism, like it's just inundated. I don't think we're ever gonna get a Pokemon game where we have deep Skyrim level lore. And that's not what I'm asking for at all. I think that just won't fit in the genre ever. As much as I want it, I feel like as much as we all would like a mature grown-up Pokemon game, now I just don't think it's gonna happen, and I don't think that it should necessarily happen. But the any sort of semblance of lore that they've been trying to work in, like they're connecting Unova to Kalos, and so there's these kings, and maybe he's connected to the Warring Brothers, and they just never really get there, and you don't really know, and it's all hidden, and I want to know more, and I don't. And I don't think Ghetsis Harmonia, I think he knows about as much as we do. I know more about Ghetsis Harmonia than I ever wanted to against my will. and I haven't even played the games. You know, I use ghetsis as a mental health check-in. I take a good long look at ghetsis harmonia, and if there's anything about his design or his goals and his overall aura as a person that I find even mildly appealing, I know that I'm not doing well. They gave him a scary cane, which I thought was just like a wizard sword, like a wizard staff. And a glass eye. The most stereotypical villain thing that you could ever do. They gave this man a dark cape, they slapped on a glass eye, they gave him a three-headed dragon and called it a day. If you have ever had the experience of being fueled purely on spite by anyone or anything, this is the way that I feel for ghetsis harmonia. That's why I wrote 120,000 words trying to understand and explain the lore that isn't there. I can make a whole video on Team Plasma. I can make a whole video on Team Plasma. Trying to dissect whatever that was. They're vegans, they're Catholic, they're Masonic, they're demons, they're Knights Templar, they're pirates. They have a flying pirate ship. Ghetsis looks like he flies around in his little dark cape blasting Phantom of the Opera. He looks like he has the Imperial March playing constantly in his head, but only he can hear it. His voice in the anime is actually perfect, and I love it. It's growly to the point where it's not even intimidating, and that is exactly what I feel like he would sound like, because that's just the vibe that he gives me. He, like, wants to be so evil. He executes it very badly in a very tacky way, actually. Ooh, buddy. I cannot stand this freak. I'm sorry if you thought this was gonna be a real review, but it's not. It's just me dunking on villains, okay? That's what you're getting. I talk about their looks because I'm very shallow. What I hate more about it is I think it's the fact that I hate him so much is that now he plagues my mind constantly. He makes Archie and Maxie look normal. And Archie and Maxie, like, cosplay their own Pokemon. I have never seen a villain quite like Ghetsis. Everything bad, everything unlikable. So if that's what they were going for, they did an excellent job because I can't stand this piece of shit. Wow. Anyways, that's Ghetsis. He really took everything that you could want in a villain and executed it so poorly. So poorly that it almost makes it good, but not necessarily in a good way. It's like when you multiply a negative number by a negative number and then you get a positive number. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Am I learning math? When you multiply a negative by a negative, you get a positive because the negative signs cancel out. Anyways, I think that's the best summary of Ghetsis that I can give. He's just pulling kids off the street, asking them to join cults, telling everyone to release their Pokemon because he's PETA and he's vegan cheese, pirates, and he's flying pirates, and science, and Colress is there. We'll get into Colress. Believe me, we're gonna get all into that. Anyways, give it up for Ghetsis, everybody. Right now, he's the lowest end of the spectrum. Maybe we'll find someone someday who I hate more than Ghetsis. But right now, man, what do you think? What do you think of Ghetsis, Jeffrey? Would not recommend. You heard it here, folks. But subscribe!